the opportunity to be here tonight to conduct your business for the city of Sherwood. Lord, I just ask you to bless all that are here. I just ask a special blessing on the council members as they conduct business tonight. Lord, just give them wisdom and give them discernment as they go through the agenda. And Lord, just help them to make the decisions that are best for the city, Lord. I just ask you to bless all the employees that work here, and I bless the residents that live here, Lord. We'll just thank you for it. We ask all this in Jesus' name and for his sake. Amen.
Amen. Please rise for the National Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Brooks. Here. Harmon.
Here.
Lilly.
Here.
Sanders.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Broderick.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Wade.
Here.
You had sent the minutes from the special called city council meeting on November 21st, 2024, as transcribed. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Council Member Brooks and a second by Council Member Sanders. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
You also were sent the minutes from the regular called city council meeting on November 25th, 2024, as transcribed. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye. Point of question though, Mayor. On the last page of those minutes, it did say for that one appraisal that we would be getting a new one this week. Did we receive that?
Which item?
It was the very last item regarding a resident that reached out to us concerned about the appraised value of their land.
I think one has been obtained, but I don't have it this evening.
There have been some material changes as to all of that. So it really would be best for, since this is a legal matter, to
I
not.
prefer not to get into it at the council level, but I'm happy to get the appraisal and get it to you.
Okay, I just remember from our minutes, it made a comment that we'd be having them, so,
It turned out we did not need that appraisal.
okay. So there's not one? I mean, I'm not
No,
following.
there is no new appraisal because it turned out we did not need appraisal on that particular parcel of land.
Okay. And you'll explain later.
Yes, ma'am. November 2024 financials. Committees and commissions. First up, we have advertising and promotion commissions. Commission.
All right. We did not meet this month. The January meeting of Advertising and Promotion Commission is going to be on January 8th, since the first Wednesday is on January 1st. And so the commissioners did not want to meet on January 1st. They voted to meet on January 8th. Also, just wanted to report on the Trail of Lights. As of the 15th, the car count is 24,801 cars, so that's really great. Keep on coming through, guys. Had a great turnout so far. What has not been great is the QR code. I think it's been troublesome for people to navigate that, or the lines are, people are blocked up in line or they can't access it. I'm not really sure what's the problem, but so far to date, as of the 15th, we've only received $1,081 for the funds for the 24,801 cars. So the QR code is not really doing it for us. So
Sounds like we need to go back to the way we were doing it. If we're gonna.
I'm not going to speculate at this time. So I'm just leaving it there.
The all-time record for attendance before was around 27,000, and we haven't even hit the busy time yet, and we are already over 24,000. So that's
Is the goal attendance, or is the goal
Money.
attendance plus donation to?
I mean, the goal, I think, is attendance. We want people to come. I always think the goal is attendance because we want people to come to Sherwood. We hope that we get some out-of-town visitors, and, we do have an accurate car count because we have a car counter that's counting the cars. So I think this is the best, most accurate car count we've ever had. In the past, we've had maybe teenagers or something clicking a clicker, and so I think this is the most accurate car count we've ever had before. So I think the numbers we have are great, and I think what we have is great. I think the goal is to have a lot of cars come through.
Well, I agree, but I think also you need the donations, or else the trail is going to become stale. You're not going to be able to update it and upgrade it and things of that nature. The donations. You need the donations plus the car count.
I would tend to agree, but I think I'll leave that comment alone right now. But I would tend to agree.
You have a resolution before you. It's a resolution appointing certain persons to the Advertising and Promotion Commission to the City of Sherwood, Arkansas, reaffirming the appointment of another person to the commission and for other purposes. This was sponsored by Councilmember Harmon. We do have one person signed up to speak on this,
Okay.
Monica Treat.
All right. I'd like to go over it first. The resolution, I think, basically speaks for itself in that its goal is to appoint or to allow nominations for and then appoint the 2 council member positions so that they're in place in time for the January meeting. And it also is designed to fix the appointment of the member at large, and we all received a copy of a legal opinion from the league this week, and I wasn't able to get I was making candy all weekend and wasn't able to get the a response to that out to today, and it's too late for any of you all to read it. But basically, my conclusion from the opinion from Mr. McKenzie was that he left the method for selecting the 2 council members up to the council, which was a turnaround from the opinion I had gotten over the phone from Mr. Wilkinson. And he basically agreed that the selection, the replacement of Ms. Pilkington was incorrect and was done contrary to the statute and needed to be fixed, and said that it needed to be, and basically saying it needed to be fixed the same way I'm fixing, except I'm doing it backwards. I'm just saying that the council is reapproving the appointment of Ms. Housley, subject to the A&P Commission also approving her. So it doesn't have to come back to us again if after they approve her. If they approve her, we've already approved her, so it's a done deal. So that's the purpose for the resolution. Then I'll hold the rest of my comments till after Ms. Treat's comments.
Ms. Treat, if you will state your name, your address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Monica Treat. My address is 9633 Oak Forest Lane, Sherwood. I am just coming before the council today to express my desire to be on the A&P Commission. I sent an email today to all of you to let you know that. There are 3 members that won't be here with us that are sitting here today that won't be here in 2025, and there are 3 new city council members coming on board, Meredith, Callie, and myself, and I would like for us to be able to have the opportunity to be considered for the A&P Commission for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. I think there were 2 of the new members that have expressed interest, I think by text or email today, I guess to all of us about being appointed. And this appointment is basically at the leisure of the council. The council can decide to leave them on forever, or the council can decide to do the reappointments every year, and that won't be my problem. I'm gonna say that a lot tonight. I'm gonna end my comments. My nominations for the 2 positions, and this is nothing against Ms. Treat or the other person who expressed an interest. My nominations for the 2 appointments would be Ms. Brooks, Councilmember Brooks, her term to expire 4 years from January 1st, and Councilmember Broderick, her term to expire 2 years from the November 1st. And then, of course, like I said, the council can do whatever they want to. They can reappoint them earlier than that if they want to or whatever. So, but that's my nomination. And also, I want to point out another thing I mentioned in my this email that you haven't had a chance to read. Mr. Wilkinson had indicated that I was misreading the case I gave you from Eureka Springs, in that it was entirely possible that the mayor of Eureka Springs had nominated all 6 of those council members that were interested in those 2 positions, that the mayor had nominated all of them, and that no council member nominated him or herself. So I called Butch Berry, mayor of Eureka Springs. He was mayor at the time that all happened, and he was able to explain it to me, and he said, no, they only have 6 council members, and that year all 6 council members wanted to be on the AMP commission, so they all nominated themselves. And that they had a vote, and that he said that's the way it's typically done. He said they had a vote. It came down shockingly to 3-3, and he had to break the tie-breaking vote in both cases, since they basically were all voting for themselves. And so he he cast the tie-breaking vote to appoint all of them. But then he concluded our conversation at the end, unsolicited comment, said, typically the mayor here has nothing to do with appointments to the AMP commission. So that was his explanation of that particular Supreme Court case. And also he pointed out that everybody on their council votes for the nominees, including the nominees. Otherwise, it dilutes the vote. It dilutes the people who are voting too much. So they don't abstain. For instance, the year they had all 6 people nominated, there'd have been nobody to vote. So there aren't any abstentions for reason of the nominee or anything like that. Okay? That's all I got to say.
That was a form of a motion, Charlie?
Yeah, that's a form of a motion for passage of the resolution. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
Question, Charlie. So what was your thinking about the 29 and the 27 on the years, the 4 and the 2 years?
That's just
that would be when their terms
that's
expired.
when their terms expire.
Okay.
I can make them. You can amend that and make it 1 year if you want to.
No, I assumed that. I just wanted to make sure that was the reason.
So does the ordinance need to have some type of language to specify terms?
Yeah.
I don't think the terms are set by statute, they're 4 years.
No, it's not for council.
I'm sorry.
No, and as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
most of them have been 1 to 2 years.
It says
So what he said was this.
It says what?
Okay, so I was, okay, I didn't have to read it up here, that's why I was.
No, didn't have, no.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
it would be
I said
filled in at
for
the
our
bottom.
city, They have traditionally been 1 to 2 years for the council members, correct?
I think it has been 1 to 2 years. I think it's been 2 years.
Yeah, I didn't recall anybody ever been nominated for 4 years. That was my kind of.
That's fine.
That's what I was
Make
leading
them
into.
1 to 2 years. You do whatever.
Where's your book at,
You
Steve?
agree? Is it 4?
Oh, you want to see the statute?
Where's the statute at? I think it's,
It doesn't address terms of council members.
it
Well,
does
it
not.
kind of
It
does.
was. But you
It
got-
says that 2 members of the governing body of the municipality selected by the governing body and shall serve at the will of the governing body, which means as long as we want.
Okay.
Okay.
It seems like I recall that I've been appointed for 2 years at a time.
Okay.
So I would go with 2 years.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to make Councilmember Brooks' term also expire December 31 of 27.
Okay.
So they're both expiring.
I'll
at the same
second
time.
that.
Okay.
Any discussion?
And that is not disrespectful to our new colleagues who will be up here, because we totally respect you guys, so.
And I will say that prior to me, incoming council members were indeed considered and appointed, including Councilmember Broderick and Ken Keplinger prior to that as well.
I agree. That did occur.
Okay.
We got a second, did we not? By Beverly? Okay.
I seconded it.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Parks and Rec Committee?
We did not meet, and the next time they meet won't be me. So I just want to take this opportunity to say I could not be more proud of the Parks and Recreation Department. I could not be more proud of the 2 young men who are currently running the Parks and Recreation Department if they were my own blood. And I mean that as honestly and sincerely as I can say it. I love those 2 young men. They are 2 of the hardest working, most organized and dedicated young men I have ever met in my life. The city is lucky to have them. And I think every opportunity anyone in this city has to thank Blake or Sean, either one, they should take it. They're just, they do a phenomenal job for our city. And that goes for Diana as well. Diana has worked through, I believe, 5 mayors now, something like that. She's worked through 5 different mayors now, including one named Harmon that I know had to be a task. And she does a tremendous job keeping everyone at Parks and Rec straight, telling them where to go and when to be there, and just taking care of everybody. And I love those 3 people. I truly love those 3 people, and I'm going to miss them dearly. And I just want to speak as highly as I can of those people, of the entire department, and tell you you should be proud and how lucky you are to have the Parks and Recreation Department you have here in Sherwood.
I agree.
Take them out.
Planning Commission, I do want to say that we recognized Rob Middleton, who has served for many years now as chairman. He did a phenomenal job. He really worked hard, and we have a planning commission that has a lot of extraordinary people on it, but and the fact that he encourages people to get education so that they have better ideas in terms of what they do is quite extraordinary. So we have an ordinance before you amending the official zoning district maps for the property located at 7800 Highway 107 and for other purposes. This was read one time at the November meeting.
Yes, this item is for rezoning to C3 in that particular location on Highway 107. There is an additional item coming up that could potentially impact this particular application. So leave it to the council's pleasure as to whether they want to read this item one additional time or if they want to take action on it. But that other ordinance consideration dealing with restaurants would impact this, and the applicant is aware of that. The applicant is also here this evening.
So the C2, is the C2 ordinance ready for tonight, or is it?
Yes, it is. It's ready. It's on the agenda.
I would pass over this and do the C2.
Yeah. Take them out of order.
Yeah. Do what?
Well,
Take them out of order.
Yeah, take them out of order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can just have this just be read once, and then if the other passes, then there's no need to address this at next month's meeting.
Well, my understanding is that if the gentleman who wants to do this business, he wanted us to do this as quickly as possible. So if we can do both tonight, and if we can handle both tonight, then I think we should. Can we?
I am not a parliamentarian, so I'll defer to whomever the parliamentarian is for the.
Well, I will take a motion to take it out. It's currently zoned C2?
It is currently zoned
C2.
C1 and R1.
Okay, so I will take a motion to take these out of sequence.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Harmon to address item C ahead of item A.
Perfect.
Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Okay. An ordinance amending the City of Sherwood zoning code with respect to regulation of restaurants and associated uses in 14.17.02 definitions and 14.18 schedule of uses, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes.
Yes, so this is a staff-initiated item. One of the things that occurred, we've gotten a few cases lately related to restaurants and drive-throughs, and so we started digging into the zoning code and started having questions. And when staff has questions, that's not necessarily a good thing, particularly if we can't answer them. And so it became pretty clear that we needed to have some level of code amendment to address this. Currently, the framework in the code as it relates to regulating restaurants is that there's a use for restaurant with bar. There's a use that's restaurant including a drive-in, and then there's restaurants without drive-ins. The definitions with those are kind of unclear. Additionally, there's not a use in the use table that relates to actual fast food restaurants, even though that's defined in the code. So it kind of left us in a spot where we were like, we're not sure what we're dealing with. So as a result, we've come up with a framework that kind of has us on 3 different levels. The first being a restaurant dine-in. A restaurant dine-in is one, is pretty self-explanatory, where the food's prepared on site, you drive up or walk up, go inside and eat it there. The second level is a restaurant with a pickup window. It can have that dine-in feature, or you could have a feature where you could call ahead and drive by a pickup window and get your food. However, there's no menu board, there's no taking orders on site via a menu board or anything like that. So it purely functions as a pickup window. The third level and most intense would be a restaurant with drive-through. And the distinction between that and a pickup window is that there's a menu board, you have the ability to make the order on site, and so there's typically more queues that are associated with that. It's a more intensive use. So it's shifted to that kind of way of regulating it. It's moved away in this proposal, moved away from it being restaurant with bar, that would be left really to the state and the state regulations to determine whether or not there's a bar present in a restaurant or not, because that is already regulated. Additionally, it establishes and clarifies that service stations can have drive-throughs as an accessory use. That's something that you commonly see. Additionally, in the code, it had a section there that dealt with a bakery. And often when you think about bakery, at least the way that it was defined, you think about a donut shop. What's the difference between a donut shop and a restaurant? Or are they the same thing? And so we clarified in the code to make sure that a bakery is different than a restaurant in that what you traditionally consider a bakery where you come in and buy something and eat it, or you come in and buy something and take it home, that's gonna be a restaurant. If it's something where you have wholesale, where it's a commercial production, you think something like Jackson Cookie Company, if they could just come back, if could just have those
Yeah, have it
vanilla
smell
wafers,
again.
yes.
Amen.
It would be wonderful. And so that would be a bakery wholesale. And so a lot of this is clarifying. Additionally, part of this is kind of a long-term effort to move away from the industry codes that the code is currently tied to actually having definitions. One of the issues that we've had happen with using those industry codes is when this was originally written, we were using 1980s industry codes. Well, those are kind of old resources and hard to find, and don't necessarily reflect today's issues or today's uses. And so updating it and using it, definitions that are directly relate in the code with that. Are there any questions?
James, I have two.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at Exhibit A. If you look at the first paragraph, Exhibit A, it talks about the restaurant. If you look at the last sentence, it says, drive-through or pickup windows are prohibited. See that sentence? Okay. Then go to the very next to the last on that same page, restaurant pickup windows, and it talks about an establishment in which principal use is preparation, retail food, things like that, or where patrons may pick up orders for consumption off premises. In other words, I call ahead. It's not there's not the bar thing there. And it says those are drive-through windows operations, that those are allowed. So I think those contradict each other because it's talking about restaurant having a pickup window versus a restaurant that's a dine-in. And the last sentence says drive-through or pickup windows are prohibited. We have two restaurants right now sitting on 107 that are dine-in restaurants. Neither one of them have a drive-through, but both of them have this pickup window. And that by having that in that first paragraph, you just told them they couldn't do that anymore.
No, so for instance, let's say Pig and Chick, does it have a
Perfect, yes.
pickup window?
Has a pickup
It would
window.
fall under restaurant pickup window. So
Okay.
they still can have a dine-in function related to it. It's just that when you go to that dine-in or that restaurant pickup window level, then it adds the pickup window.
So you're
it's-
saying this is two different, the restaurant dine-in is not the same as a restaurant pickup window?
Correct. They're two different uses.
The big difference is, think menu board.
Well, I know menu board is a drive-through, that's what we don't want.
I would think of it like they're stacking blocks. So you have a restaurant dine-in, and you've got all of that. And then when you add the restaurant pickup window, all of the aspects of what a restaurant dine-in are, but you add the allowance for the pickup window. The next level would be adding another stack on there that allows for the menu board. But everything that you can do with a dine-in restaurant, you can do in a restaurant pickup window.
And can I be in the same zones?
Some of these,
That's the
they're
question.
in different zones.
Okay, so because this number 2 font, I cannot read.
It's a little bit small.
We'll need to start bringing magnifying glasses.
It's really small, though.
Come on,
So-
I don't have to.
April, tell me it's small.
It is small. It is
Okay, a youngest person on the council, it's small. Okay, guys.
Now, I am able to, I usually do like this, but restaurant dine-in is a permitted use in C1, C2, CSC, C3, C4, and O2, based on what was passed by the Planning Commission. A restaurant with a drive-through is not allowed in C1, is a conditional use in C2, and is permitted by right in CSC, C3, and C4.
And the pickup window.
Pickup window is a conditional use in C1, but allowed by right in C2, CSC, C3, and C4, as well as O2.
So this area that we're talking about for this proposal
Would be by right in C2.
would be by right, okay, if this were
Correct.
adopted, okay.
Correct.
I think that was our intention.
Which is, yeah,
Or conditional by C1? I mean, what is the advantage to go to C2 from C1 if it's going to be allowed?
You're talking about in this particular case?
Well, this instance that we're talking about, yeah.
For that particular applicant, they've got split zones, so the property has to be rezoned in some capacity. If we were to change it to where we left all of the property as C1, then it would trigger another review process that would hold things
The
up.
west side of that property, is it R or C1?
The east side of it
Excuse me, thank
is R1. Yeah, the west side is C1, the east side is R1.
Council, we did have someone who signed up to speak on this issue. If we can please put a pause in our questions and allow them to come up. Carla, and I do not know how to pronounce your last name. Starts with a Z? Zadorian? Zadorian, okay, got close. If you will please, you've already stated your name for the record, give us your address and you will have 3 minutes.
Sure. Carla Zadorian, 1204 Coolhurst Avenue. I was just coming up here to say that if you take a look at all of the uses that we have, having this split where it breaks it down per how intense the thing that you're going to put on it is, I think is very beneficial. And I think this is great moving forward to adding more detail to the schedule of uses. That was all I had to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any more discussion or questions for Mr. Walden?
I have one question for you. Is there a difference in the amount of easement space from a C1 to a C2?
Yeah, for commercial, it's 40 feet,
Okay.
front setback.
No change between the two,
Yeah.
okay.
Each of them.
I think the only question I have is there's some concern there about maintaining the, what am I trying to say, the screening?
Green
between
space.
The green space
Or
and the
the buffer.
screening between the residential and the commercial. And I talked to somebody about this, and they kind of said, well, that's just R3, but it's residential. It's just residential, period. There's not a matter whether it's R3, R1, or whatever. But the city council used to review plats. And at some point, we lost the ability to review plats. And I guess I was sleeping when that happened. I don't know at what point that happened. I mean, there would be apartments on Johnson Road today if the city council didn't have the ability to review plats, because it was our review of that plat and the way we amended that plat that resulted in that complex going on. And sometime after that, plats stopped showing up here for us to look at before a project was finished. Now, how can we ensure, as the council, that there is going to be screening, sufficient screening, and of a type that residents there are looking for in this situation, or can we not? Is it just strictly? I've been told it's strictly up to staff. That it's staff reviews and staff decides, and we don't have a say so.
It's not that it's necessarily that staff decides. It's what's lined out in the zoning code. In the zoning code, whether it's a C1, a C2, C3, it's based on the sort of the commercial land use and its required buffer to residential land use. So that there's the requirement there that exists. When you have that residential to commercial, there's the requirement for a solid 6-foot fence, and then additionally landscaping on top of that. So you've got a landscape buffer and a fence on top of that. I think in the particular site that you're talking about, there's also some issues of topography that I think could provide some level of benefit. So when staff reviews that, they're reviewing it against what the code requirement is, and that code requirement is pretty well consistent. I do know that we take a very, very diligent effort to do that. I know there are times in the past where that necessarily hasn't occurred, but that's something that we're taking a very diligent effort towards.
Is the requirement different depending on whether it's R1 or R3 on the other side of that screening?
No.
Okay. And the landscaping that has to be on the commercial side of that 6-foot fence, does it have a height requirement of 6 foot or taller also?
I don't want to speak out of turn, but
If it doesn't, it's only for the benefit of the people on the commercial side because it's not doing anything for the people on the residential side.
I would have to look. I think it has a requirement to be able to grow to a certain height by 5 years, is the requirement for that. There are, in different reviews that I've done, I've set it up before in communities or made requirements that said it has to be something like a Thua green giant, which grows notoriously fast. It also dies notoriously fast, which can be problematic. But typically something like a holly, tree planting, or even just leaving some level of natural buffer, undisturbed buffer, to where it just can grow up in thickets outside of where that fencing is, can be a very, very useful tool on top of that.
Okay.
You have an ordinance before you. Is there a motion?
Move to suspend the rules and place it on second reading.
Second.
We have an ordinance to move it to the next reading by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Thomas. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
An ordinance amending the City of Sherwood zoning code with respect to regulation of restaurants and associated uses and 17.02 definitions and 14.18 schedule of uses, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. Second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on third reading.
Second.
We have a motion to advance the reading by Councilmember Brooks and a second by Councilmember Harmon. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
An ordinance amending the City of Sherwood zoning code with respect to regulation of restaurants and associated uses and 14.17.02 definitions and 14.18 schedule of uses, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. That was the third reading.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
Motion for the adoption by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Williams. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The
Now-
motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And now we are going to go back up to item A.
So the item as requested is requested as a C3. That may be a point of modification of the request. Would the applicant be? Let the
Amenable?
applicant, because I don't like saying the applicant is okay with this, but.
Evening, Thomas Pownell with Thomas Engineering, 3810 Lookout Road, representing the applicant. And thank you for that legislation. And yes, we would be very happy to amend our rezoning request from C3 to C2.
Okay, so council members, if you'll turn to, and we will need to then get a,
Make a motion to amend the first whereas from C3 to C2. Is that the only place that's where I saw it?
that's the only place that I see it as well. We have a motion by Councilmember Williams in the first whereas to change C-3 to C-2.
And it's additionally reflected in section 1.
In
Thank
section
you.
1?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep, it
yep,
is.
so there it
And I
is.
moved that as well.
All right, and also it says, general commercial C-3 to change that to C-2.
Second.
And we have a second by Councilmember Sanders. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
We have an ordinance amending the official zoning district maps for the property located at 7800 Highway 107 and for other purposes as amended. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules, place it on second reading as amended.
Second.
We have a motion to advance the reading by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
An ordinance amending the official zoning district's maps for the property located at 7800 Highway 107 and for other purposes as amended. That was the second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place it on third and final reading as amended.
Second.
We have a motion to advance the reading by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
An ordinance amending the official zoning district maps for the property located at 7800 Highway 107 and for other purposes as amended.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
We have a motion for the adoption by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Wade. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is item B, an ordinance amending the existing zoning code with respect to conditional use permits and for other purposes. This was read one time at the November meeting. Floor is yours, Mr. Walden.
Staff is not in a hurry on this, so we're fine with just second reading on this particular item.
Any questions? All right, we will move on. Next up, we have Planning and Permits Department. Item A, an ordinance abandoning 2 existing 10-foot easements for part of Lot 8R Trammell Addition and for other purposes.
It's a little bit difficult to see in the packet, but what occurred was Lot 8R and Lot 9R were combined. That resulted in easements going through the middle of the lot, and so this is abandonment for that purpose. It's not, those easements are no longer necessary because those two have been made whole, and we've got other easements that accommodate it.
And they're
Will
not
they
being
ever
used.
separate out, though?
If they ever separate out, then we'll be able to recapture easements at that point.
Okay.
So,
And the easements aren't being used currently?
no.
What type of easements are they?
You got me on that one. They're probably general utility and drainage. That's typically what most of them are.
Okay.
Because it looked like it was like in the middle of, it wasn't by the roads.
Correct. Yeah,
There
it's
were some- I
it's
think
in the
they
middle
were-
of the lot.
I
So
think
it
they were
affects the.
like power line easements.
I'm sorry?
I think they were power line easements.
It's something that does not affect I mean, it affects the constructability of the lot.
But not, it's not by the
Yeah.
roads. Okay.
But there's no liability, no danger, anything like that? Okay.
You have an ordinance before you. Any other questions, or is there a motion?
Move to suspend the rules, place it on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion to advance the ordinance to the next reading by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
An ordinance abandoning 2 existing 10-foot easements for part of Lot 8R Trammell Addition and for other purposes. Second reading.
Move we suspend the rules and place it on third reading.
Second.
We have a movement to advance it to third reading by Councilmember Lilly and a second by Councilmember Wade. Roll call, please.
Thomas. Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
An ordinance abandoning 2 existing 10-foot easements for part of Lot 8R Trammell Addition and for other purposes. That was the third reading.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
We have a motion for adoption from Councilmember Wade and a second from Councilmember Thomas. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Next up, we have Street Committee, Councilmember Lilly, Chairman.
Street Committee did not meet, and just as with Councilmember Harmon, now the next meeting will be without me. Would echo a lot of the comments that Charlie shared about the Parks and Rec Committee to the Public Works Department. I mean, these guys and gals are working throughout the city, day in and day out, doing the things that a lot of people just don't want to do. They take care of your trash. They take care of, all the extra, cleanup and such throughout the city. They run the leaf trucks in the winter, do a great job. Working with Brian and the group of folks over there has just been great. And I wanted to say thank y'all for allowing me to serve with you. It's been an honor. Thank you.
We have a resolution before you approving the acquisition of temporary construction easements and a permanent easement in connection with the Power Line Trail. This is Track 20. This is over by Stonehill.
What fund source is this coming from, this 59,000?
We received a grant, and it's also a line item. So this is part of the Power Line easement trail that we received a grant. So actually, it's an 80-20, so our part is 20% of.
The 59,000 is our 20%?
No, ma'am, it's 20% of the total amount of the 59,000.
Okay.
We had 2 people sign up to speak. Oh, item 9, okay, excuse me, sorry. Any questions or anything about this issue?
Move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt by Councilmember Lilly and a second by Councilmember Harmon. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade. Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
We have next up a resolution expressing the willingness of the city of Sherwood to utilize federal aid funds for the following project: the Indian Head Lakes Estates pedestrian improvements. Finley could speak to this. This is the exact same grant that we previously applied for.
It's the same, almost, yes. It's a different agency, but the same grant. Last time we applied for this, we applied to RDOT. That is a more competitive program than the MetroPlan program is, because it's statewide. MetroPlan is not. Unfortunately, we didn't win that one, which I'm not terribly surprised about, but we're reapplying basically for the same project to MetroPlan for the Transportation Alternatives Program. I have a higher degree of confidence that we'll win it this time around, although I can't be certain.
And could you explain from where to where it will go?
Certainly. It's on Shoshone, forgive me. I just had that pulled up, just so I could remember the street names.
This is when we need these, this is when we need this. Show
Yeah,
me.
so these pictures, we need like a map.
We need the maps.
It's on Shoshone from Houston to the end of the cul-de-sac where the spillway is, essentially. Connects to an existing sidewalk on the south there and there where Shoshone and Houston meet.
Shoshone and Houston, okay.
We're I know where Shoshone and Houston meet. From there to where?
It goes north from there, all the way down Shoshone, and then when you turn left down the cul-de-sac at, forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce the name of that street. Somebody help me out.
Spell it for me.
It's Narraga.
Narragansett.
Thank you very much.
Narragansett.
It goes to the end of that sidewalk, and through that cul-de-sac will connect to the future Central Arkansas Regional Greenway.
Okay.
And
I know
Yes, and you all might have heard, previous comments, sidewalk to nowhere. This connects it all the way through so that the people on the Squaw Island, I believe is what it's referred to, will now be able to, via sidewalk, be able to make it all the way to the park and the amenities and so forth. The sidewalks that are currently in place are highly used, and I've spoken to many residents out there that have been very thankful for it.
So if we win, what will our monetary commitment be if we get the grant?
So the grant will provide a maximum of $320,000. We have to put up a 20% match. So if we can get it done for $400,000, which I think we probably can, then our match would be $80,000. If it costs more than that, then the city would be responsible for the overage. But right now, the estimate is pretty close to that maximum project.
And we did budget for it. It was provided for in the budget that you all passed.
At 80,000?
Brian? Yes, at whatever we thought the maximum would be for the project.
I believe we budgeted 200,000 for it, because I think the actual engineer's estimate is somewhere around 500,000. And as Finley said, I think 300,000 is the maximum.
It's 320,000 is the maximum award. The RDOT grant maximum project cost is higher. It's 500,000.
Okay.
So we may have to scale this one back a little bit if necessary.
Okay.
So now that we have our maps up, would you repeat, Finley, where it's coming out? We know Shoshone, and
Yes.
so it's, Shoshone just goes around the lake.
So if you see
From
where
Houston to where?
from Houston on the south end,
Yep.
if you follow Shoshone all the way to kind of the westernmost point where it
Cameron,
it's
can you help him put this up on the screen?
It'll begin on Houston where we ended the sidewalks. It'll continue along the south side of Shoshone on the south side of the island to Narragansett Place. There's a cul-de-sac in the apex of that corner that goes to the spillway.
Okay,
It will
got
go,
that.
it'll terminate at the spillway.
Okay, so.
So the sidewalk will terminate the spillway?
So where that little cul-de-sac or little circle thing is in Narragansett?
That's where the spillway is, right there, that little thing is right there.
And this is gonna be a sidewalk along the side of the road?
Yes, ma'am.
Just, I don't know if you've been out in Indian Head. It's a continuation of what we currently have out there.
I have.
Okay, so this is where it will start, right here, where Houston and Shoshone meet, correct?
It's right close there, about Bowie Point, where we ended.
And it will continue north along Shoshone and then west here along this cul-de-sac. And right here along this levee is the planned location of the future Central Arkansas Regional Greenway. So it will connect this entire neighborhood to this future trail system. Does that make sense? Sorry.
We have two people who've signed up to speak on this. Julianne Carney, if you'll.
On this or on the next?
No, on this, on number 9.
Hi, my name's Julianne Carney, and I live at 26 Shoshone Drive. I was misinformed about what this resolution was about, first of all. I have no problem with your sidewalks. I will take the moment to state what I am opposed to, which is scuttlebutt that I've heard. It could be rumor. I don't know if there's any truth to it, and I'm willing to state that publicly. It's the levy that I have heard that the Indian Head Lake Property Owners Association wants to abdicate their fiduciary responsibility in maintaining, and that the city wants to eventually build a biking and hiking trail or a walking and biking trail across that levee. I'm absolutely opposed to that, only because of the risk that the city will encumber, the cost, and the trash that property owners will have. So sidewalk to terminate at the spillway is fine with me. I'm absolutely not opposed to that. It's messing with the levee itself, and opening us up for more trash, more noise, more nuisance, and more costs as property owners with inflated insurance rates, etc. So I'm for the sidewalks. I'm against messing with the levees. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Steve Hopkins. If you'll please state your address, and you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Steve Hopkins. I live at 8 Scouts Point in Indian Head Lake Estates. I've lived several different places. Won't try to peel back all the layers, but my wife and I started looking for a place to live where neither one of us had ever lived. We found a place we loved at Scouts Point. We've been there since 2000. Been there 24 years, just 2 years less than we've been married. I love Sherwood. I've lived in North Little Rock, I lived in Mableville, I lived in Maumelle. I've lived southwest Little Rock, I've lived in Mableville, lived in Park Hill for the most time before this house for 18 years. When I lived at Maumelle, it was a planned community with green spaces set aside for bike paths and walking paths. And I knew that when I bought the house in 1976, it was part of the package. But when we moved here, there were no bike paths, walking paths, or green space, so to speak. I need to back up and say two things. I don't know who is responsible for the sidewalks in Indian Head Lake Estate, but when we walked our circuit, we took our lives in our own hands because of the speeders. That's the second thing I bring up. I don't know if Mr. Little is responsible. He's the street committee chairman, but those speed cushions are fantastic. A lot of people use Shoshone and Indian Head Drive as shortcuts to hurry to work from north of Sherwood. And I think they just need to leave their house a little earlier instead of trying to make up time busting the speed limit where we live. I am against this proposal. I didn't know they were going to include sidewalks, but my main concern was I was lake chairman some years ago for ILPOA, Indian Head Lake Property Owners Association. Part of my job was to keep people off the lake that didn't have memberships there.
Sir, you have 30 seconds remaining in your time.
Pardon me?
You have 30 seconds remaining in your time.
That's all the time I get?
Right, you have 3
Okay,
minutes.
then mark me down that I am adamantly opposed to this resolution. Thank you.
Any discussion, council members?
So I got one question. So we talked about the trail that this is gonna connect to. And is this going to potentially connect to our trail that we're bringing in from the other side? That was a question that I was asked. Is there any potential for it to come around behind, like between Gap Creek and Glen Hills, and to connect from the other side at some point through that green space from over there?
Yeah, right now, what the power line easement trail stops at Brockington Road. And then the plan is it will cross at Gap Creek. It'll utilize Gap Creek Drive as a shared road space. And then it'll utilize, the city already has that easement by the pump station, excuse me. And so it'll eventually connect, and then it'll eventually go to Jacksonville. Yes, sir.
When is the proposed levy issue going to be occurring? I mean, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road? It's not in the next 5 years, I know that probably.
Well, the engineering process has not even begun, and certainly, once it does, finally, I mean, it's taken a year just to be released to get the engineering firm, which is McClellan. And so they will be engaging with the homeowners associations for both Gap Creek and for Indian Head. But we haven't even begun any of that process. And then it will go under, they have to meet with them, work out issues. You also have tight environmental regulations because that's being, all of that is under federal guidelines. So it's, in terms of when, I don't know. But right now, we have sidewalks before you. Correct.
So Finley, when does this need to be, when do we have to put our name in the hat, so to speak?
For the resolution that's before you today.
The
grant.
I believe the grant is due, it's early
January 8th.
January 8th, 9th, something like that.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, is the council, I would really like to hear the end of Mr. Steve's, what the opposition is. So I would either like to see if the council was agreeable to let him finish his comments, or if we can read this one time. I just want to hear the other side of the, why oppose the sidewalks.
Well, sounds to me like if we only read it one time, we're gonna miss the opportunity for the grant.
Right.
And it's a resolution.
It's a resolution, yeah.
It is a resolution.
So is the council agreeable to let Mr. Steve finish his comments? Does anyone have a
Another
problem with
minute or
that?
two.
I don't have a problem if he stays on point.
Okay.
Do you feel like you've had adequate consideration of your comments?
Or is there anything you could add?
I just wanted to say,
I just want to know why you were opposing the sidewalks. I just wanted to hear the other side of the.
Yeah. He could have meant to let it.
you Lynn's telling me what y'all were saying because I have a hearing impairment. I just wanted to say that part of my job, and Mike Shoup helped me a lot, Officer Mike Shoup, was keeping people off the lake that didn't have memberships there. And I think that I'm worried about anybody that walks through it decides they're going to fish. Well, we pay to stock that lake, both lakes, and that comes from our membership dues. Also, I'm worried about the liability. 2 children have drowned in Indian Head Lake, so swimming is a prohibition. I worry about children whose parents aren't watching them falling into our lake and wondering about the liability. Will it lay with ILPOA or will it lay with the city of Sherwood? Because I think that children are pretty unpredictable.
Sir, because this is about the sidewalks, and you had mentioned about the traffic and it being dangerous to walk over there. So right now, all we're talking about is just the sidewalk. So you're against having a sidewalk in your neighborhood that would make it safer to walk?
I have a problem with spending money just because it's there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think it's a levy deal.
I move for the passage of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly for passage. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade.
Aye.
Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
We have an ordinance amending Ordinance 2140 regarding the adoption of new policies and procedures for the Department of the Humane Animal Services and for other purposes. This is sponsored by Councilmember Harmon. Floor is yours.
This is technically the third reading, and this is an amended version.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get a red line again because I was cooking candy all weekend. I guess I would ask that somebody make a motion or I can make a motion that this be introduced as an amended version of the original, but like I said, I don't have the red lines for you. Basically, the pit bull provision. The pit bull provision is the amendment. It wasn't there before, and that's the change.
Well,
And then
there
the
were
formatting
multiple changes, though.
Multiple changes. I would say that this is a new ordinance,
Okay, well,
Charlie.
let's do it as a new ordinance. Either way, it just needs to be read once. And I'll tell you why. I know they've got some people that want to talk, and let me spit a couple of things out. I've visited with Chris, and we've come up with some other things that need to be changed, and we've had some good comments from the public on some issues. For instance, under both the vicious, the aggressive, and the pit bull sections, and this was in the old version, and I just carried it over into this version, and we decided that the language is not good, not to mention it probably violates Fourth Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution. It says that an owner of any of these dogs will submit to a search of their premises, otherwise the dog will be removed from the property. And what was intended by this, after visiting with Chris, what was intended by this was an inspection of the premises to confirm that the owner is complying with the confinement restrictions, because with at each level, owning a pit bull, and then owning an aggressive dog, and then harboring any kind of vicious animal for any period of time, the short period of time that you'd be allowed to harbor one, there are restrictions on how the dog is confined at your house. And so the intention is that if the police or the animal control people want to inspect, you have to allow them to inspect to see if you're abiding by the requirements for confinement of that animal. And so, one of the provisions that we want to amend is to say that after, with reasonable notice, then you will allow, like 48 hours after reasonable notice, you'll allow the city to inspect to ensure that you are abiding by the regulations for confinement of the animal. So that's a lot less troublesome language. Another provision, I had increased the insurance provision to $500,000 under concerns of, the extent of damages if somebody is mauled by a dog and things of that nature. And then discovered with research and with the help of a couple of other people, you just can't get that much insurance in dog bite liability. The most you can get is a $100,000 policy. And that's going to have to be bumped back down, because otherwise you eliminate the ability to get these dogs. You just can't get a dog. I mean, you might as well not put the pit bull provision in there if you're going to put the insurance at $500,000, period.
What is Cabot's requirement? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Their insurance
But they're not allowed pit bulls.
I've got
In Cabot? No, they don't have BSL language in Cabot. Remember the animal control officer?
Oh, that was
But I believe I had a
Well,
resident call me and say he didn't mention it, but they have an insurance requirement there.
Yeah. I think they do have some requirements similar to what we're doing. It just doesn't mention pit bulls, but they have they're kind of what we're patterning this after. Cabot and some others, they have some language for requiring insurance and things like that.
I appreciate having some discussion on this. I've been asked several times, and I've asked some veterinarians and some other people, and even our animal control people, what is a pit bull? I mean, what is because people say, because I've talked to our animal control director about it, and said, well, they kind of look like it, but, can you tell? And we talked about the DNA. And a lot of cities are saying that there's so many mixed breeds, let me just put it that way, that if the dog has less than 50%, they are not counting them as a pit bull. It's a 50% and over criteria. Is that anything that we want to engage in? It'd be
very expensive. Those DNA tests are not cheap, and so one of the reasons Chris and I didn't put that in there is expense. I mean, if you
to the owner, not to the city.
Well, but remember, you had an owner that came and spoke and showed you pictures of their dog that would look like a golden doodle, and when they did DNA tests when they first got it, and then the DNA tests after the dog passed away didn't match. I mean, it's not that exact.
Yeah, there's only one or two companies that are actually considered, if you read the reviews, that are actually considered dependable when those tests are done. And,
You know,
there-
Mayor,
but there's
even, you
a
made the
dozen
comment
out there.
that during campaigning, you saw a lot of pit bulls in the city in some of the homes. I think you made that comment to me that you know.
They're all over our city,
So my
there's no
comment is,
question.
You know, we have an ordinance that says no pit bulls.
Yeah.
But there's,
But there are.
but there are. And so,
You don't typically
you know,
see them
don't
because we
speed, but you
have
are,
an
so let's
ordinance.
speed, because that's
That's right.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Well,
And that's kind of where I went with the definition. You can see them. When you see one, when you see one, you know one. When you see a pit bull, you know one. And I list the breeds, and I also state after the breeds are any dog with the physical characteristics of those breeds. Because it's true that pit bulls are so popular nationwide that if you go into any animal rescue or animal shelter and you take the mutts and you start running random DNA tests on the mutts, regardless of what they look like, you're going to typically find in most of those mutts some percentage of Staffordshire Terrier or something like that that is typically the pit bull. Whether it looks like the pit bull or not, there's going to be some there because these dogs have been running out on the street, and so have the pit bulls been running out on the street, and it just happens. So, but
And Councilmember Williams, when I say that, yeah, when there's no question.
Yeah.
But yet we're not having a problem with attacks and everything else, even though we all know that they are in our city and have been in our city in great numbers.
we're having a bit of problem with Chihuahua attacks, but not
the reason,
pit bull attacks.
the reason being is because a lot of these people that have the pit
Are
bulls
hiding.
know that there's a ban, and they're not letting them out. They're not walking them out down the street. They know that if they get caught, they're either gonna
Well, I
surrender
see
their
'em on
dog, or
Maryland
you're
and
gonna
Oak
get a ticket.
Yeah. And
So
what
I
this
just-
does, is gives them an opportunity to be able to walk their dog. You meet these requirements, they're able to walk their dog, but they have to walk their dog with, harnesses, no-pull harnesses, leashes that are, rated for the weight of the dog, and things like that. Only adults can walk them. They can't give them to their 8-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid to walk, and things of that nature. And if they, as long as they abide by that, and they're chipped, they're registered, as long as they abide by those provisions, then they can take their dog walking. And if their dog, attacks another dog, or heaven forbid attacks a person, then, then they're going to fall under these provisions of aggressive or violent dogs.
I got 2 phone calls, and that, what they said was, well, I think this is very cumbersome on our staff to enforce this. There's a lot of paperwork, and so I had 2 separate people call me, and their comment was similar to the ordinance that we have currently isn't being enforced, and so how will we have the manpower to enforce more restrictions in order to try to keep everybody safe so that they're not,
The ordinance we have now requires staff to go out and go into people's homes, which you don't have the right to do, and try to find the pit bulls. The ordinance we're creating encourages people to bring the pit bulls out to staff, number one. Number two, staff is excited about this and doesn't feel that they have any issues with enforcing it or anything. They're not worried like you're about themselves the way you're worried about them, or any problems enforcing or handling the paperwork or the workload or anything else with this ordinance.
And I do know that staff has not had a chance to thoroughly vet this, so I think both staff and Councilmember Harmon are asking that this just be read once, give the staff a chance to fully vet it, and come back either with a recommendation, or if there's any changes that they would need to make on it.
I know there's not a lot of fans of this on this council. I'm hoping one of the 3 new council members will take over as sponsor of this, so I can send any amendments or anything, recommended changes through them. So otherwise, it may die for lack of a sponsor.
Well, I don't think that will be an issue looking out onto the audience right now. So.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to piggyback what Councilman Broderick mentioned, because I had a couple of similar questions, and actually I wrote them down because the people that called, one of them was about documentation. Are we gonna actually keep an Excel spreadsheet with regard to this dog and, what's the insurance, how many, the 3 people, the photo that's supposed to be on file? That's gonna have to be there. The accountability of, I agree, I think that's one thing similar to you, Ms. Roderick. They said the animal control is gonna have this accountability to keeping this data and have it, stored and current. The one that I thought was interesting was the person said, when they looked at the penalty, it was either there was no penalty at all or it was death. There was no middle ground for what a penalty could be. And
we probably, that's another thing that I'm looking at doing. We need to
comment.
add fines. We need to add a fine level where they're fined
that-
monetarily.
The fee structure was different. Our fee was $10 for a pit bull, but in some cities are $150. I think some of those are $150.
Well, remember, we're trying to encourage the registration, not discourage the registration.
I understand. And then the one that was called to my attention on vicious dogs under that section, I think we had this in the language that was previously.
I didn't tinker with that much.
Yeah, but where if it bit another dog one time, it was considered vicious, but if it bit a human, it had to bite 2 humans, but to be considered vicious. So they thought maybe that was a little backwards because they thought humans were more important.
That is backwards, if that's the way it reads.
So, anyway, there was several comments for editing from people that have contacted me.
I would suggest you send those over to our chief and to Chris, and when staff reviews it, they'll come back with, some items. Are we good? All right.
Let's see, there was one other thing you just mentioned that made me think there was one other. Anyway, let's listen to whoever has to. Do you have anybody signed up? Okay, cool. That's everything on this, so food for thought.
Next up, you have a resolution appointing members to various boards, committees, and commissions.
Our name's not on there, guys.
And you all received, anybody who was new, you received, as per the ordinance, their letter with their resume, and if they were reappointed, of course not, since you've already had those.
Move for the adoption of the resolution. Oh, you gotta read it first.
Already did.
Okay, move for the adoption of the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion for adoption by Councilmember Harmon and a second by Councilmember Lilly. Roll call, please.
Thomas.
Aye.
Harmon.
Aye.
Lilly.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Wade. Brooks.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Old business.
I have a comment, since you rolled your eyes at me just then.
I didn't roll my eyes. I just looked at you.
We had talked tonight about several grants, and I think a couple times we asked about grants. I would ask that we can compile a list of the grants that we've applied for the last couple of years, and I think I mentioned this earlier, so that we can have that as something informational for us. Here's a grant we wrote for our daughter, here's a grant we wrote for this, and just, because we were mentioned one time that we probably wouldn't get that grant like the Durand Youth Center tonight, because we'd gotten one from that company, that group before. But if we could have what the grant was, what was the funding source, and what was the amount, and just have that, just a sketchy little list, I think the council would appreciate that information.
And
whatever we can get together.
Yes, and that will take some time to pull together, because you're talking about a lot of different departments, and so we'll, as we mentioned to you on the phone, we will get to that as soon as we can. We've had a lot of more pressing issues.
Didn't say that.
Yes. All right. If it's okay, let's move on to new business. If I could please have Councilmember Sanders and Harmon and Lilly, if you all would please come to the front.
I'm gonna cry.
We have.
This is like my 3 amigos right here.
Leaving you alone up here.
Still do dinner.
My hair looks good.
No.
I got the clippers.
We have three very special council members, and I wanted to say a little bit about each of them. No comment. Councilmember Sanders. Councilmember Sanders has served from January 13th to, of course, this is his last council meeting. Councilmember Sanders was historic in that he was the first council member who was from the formerly unincorporated area that used to be known as Gravel Ridge, but is currently known as North Sherwood. He was very passionate about representing that new area and making sure that they got just consideration. And he was also very passionate about parks, especially he spent many years at the ballpark. So thank you, Councilmember Sanders, for your service and all that you have done for our city. Next up, we have Councilmember Harmon. Councilmember Harmon has served the city from January of 2007 to, of course, his last meeting. Councilmember Harmon, I don't think we would have the golf course today if it had not been for you and your participation and leadership skills that you brought to all of that. So thank you for that. And also, I want to say that because of his beautiful youngest daughter, Micah, he took up a new passion in watching all that she's had to endure and go through because of disabilities that she was born with, and it gave him a new perspective. And so he always, looking at the world through her eyes, pushed for inclusivity. And so on behalf of the city, we thank you for your service and everything that you have done for our city. Now, last but not least, and I have told Councilmember Lilly countless times, Councilmember Lilly is near and dear to my heart because, you know, we shared a ward for 12 years, and so we had to work closely together on that. Two words that come to mind when I think of, if I may say, Kevin, is courage and integrity. Courage because he was willing to put himself out on the line for our city and take charge of driving that 3/4-cent sales tax for all the road improvements that everyone is seeing come to fruition and enjoying, as well as that 1/4-cent sales tax, which has done so much to help free up what was an incredibly stressful, tight budget, was made better because of Councilmember Lilly. He always was an independent voice that always stayed above the fray. And if Councilmember Lilly gave you his word, it was good as gold. I'm going to miss you. You have been a voice of just utter common sense, and some of the things that come out of your mouth at council meetings are absolutely hilarious. So thank you for your leadership, your courage, and everything that you have done to make the city a better place. Thank you. It's a sad but happy. I'm happy for them in that they can now chill out on the fourth Monday of every month. So, under announcements, as mentioned before, please do not forget the Trail of Lights. We've had such great reviews. We have not had any backups. From a staff standpoint, it has just been phenomenal. But please remember, we have put up lots of additional QR codes along the trails. So if you can afford to, please donate. But whether you can afford to or not, please enjoy. And that will be open through the 30th from 5 p.m. till midnight. And it is amazing the amount of traffic we are getting after 10 p.m. So clearly that has been great for a lot of people who get off work late. We have, the police department has a winter clothing drive going on. It's taking place right now through the 31st. There are drop-off locations at the Sherwood Police Department, the Bill Harmon Recreation Center, or any police department. We are looking for winter clothes, okay? No swimsuits. We need things to keep people warm, okay? That are in good shape, please. On December 20th, there's a blood drive at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center from... Oh, I did that intentionally because it's already taken place. Okay. December 20th, we have the blood drive at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center from 8:30 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. If you could please give blood, do so. There's always an increased need over the holidays. December 24th and 25th, for the Christmas holidays, city offices and facilities are closed. Garbage pickup for Tuesday, December 24th, will be picked up on Monday, December 23rd. Garbage pickup for Christmas Day will be on Thursday, December 26th. December 31st, we've got the second annual New Year's Eve party at the Bill Harmon Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to noon. This is a fun event for kids and their parents. And then on January 1, New Year's Day, city offices and facilities will be closed. January 1st garbage pickup will be on Thursday, January 2nd. I'm excited to announce that we have on January 5th, swearing in of elected officials at the Greens at North Hills at 2 p.m. Just like we did 2 years ago, I think it's very important that these swearing-ins be celebrated, that this is a community event, and they not be at 8 a.m. on January 1. So please come out and celebrate our new council members. It would be greatly appreciated, and there will be a small reception with, cookies and lemonade following it. At this time, we may allow public comment, although we have had no one sign up. So I will accept a motion for adjournment. Rock, paper, scissors, let's go.
Make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Well done.
It's
Charlotte. Hey, hey guys. Hey guys.
Hey, guys, over there.